Hello everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the Runaways and just a little bit about them. And of course I'm doing a little bit of a review for that Live in Japan album. But Runaways, of course most of you know who the Runaways are. I of course discovered them later on. It was kind of like a Quiet Riot situation. Every single time I read an interview with Little Ford, they'd mention about why she was in the Runaways. And they would mention the Runaways, but they didn't get into specifics. Just mention, she was an ex-member of the Runaways, and it was with Joan Jett. That's all I heard. There was no other kind of publicity back then, as far as like videos and stuff. They didn't show anything on MTV whatsoever on it. And in the magazines, everything that they did show with the Runaways was past and back issues of magazines. So, of course, this is a really cool tapestry. It doesn't feature one with Sherry Curry, which I should have gotten, would have gotten, but I haven't. I didn't get it. But I believe that's Vicky Blue right there, Joan Jett, Sandy West, and of course Lita Ford. What I'm going to be talking about today is the Runaways, and of course I, like many of you, discovered them late. It wasn't until probably like 10, 12 years ago when I did discover them. I was like, oh hey, cool, there's video footage, and I kept on finding out more stuff about them and watching their videos and watching the live stuff and checking out their albums and reading interviews and all this other stuff. So it's been a while, and I've been researching and stuff. So I figured I would make a video because I really like the Runaways and I wish they didn't break up and everything. I know, here's the words that always come with the interviews when talking about it, and the whole thing with the women in rock and all that other stuff. I mean, okay, it was a thing back then. Today it's not really, but of course you're always going to hear these words and stuff like that. Okay, feminists. Were they feminists? Yes, they weren't the type of like overweight ones with purple hair screaming at the top of their lungs that they hate men, but they were the type of feminists like, yeah, we could do it, and we'll show you we could do it. And they did it. And they did rock, and they put out some good stuff. But, of course, what they also did, and of course has nothing to do with sexism, just sometimes people don't get along. Sometimes bands don't get along. Plenty of guy bands that have broken up and, made band members left and all that other stuff. Has nothing really specifically to do with anybody's gender whatsoever. But, of course, they rock, and they're awesome. Now, of course, they heard, the slut, whore, bitch, and all this other stuff that was just, that's got to come with the territory. Corny and stuff, yes. And then, of course, one of the other words, predator. Well, and I understand that, but yet at the same time, I think every single guy out there was a predator. You can't tell me that every single guy, most of all the guys in the American audience and the Japanese audience, anywhere watching these girls on stage weren't thinking, man, I'd like to bang one of those chicks. I'd like to bang that one, especially a hot blonde or something. Of course, men are going to think like that. And of course, as far as them being sluts and stuff, well, how come it's okay for guys to do it? The guys at Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Van Halen did it. Well, it's because men don't slut shame each other. That's one of the reasons. I mean, that is one of the main reasons why people really don't specifically talk about it or give them shit about it. Simple as that. And I'll tell you straight right out, and I'll be 1,000,000% honest here. Who I think are the bigger sluts, men or women? Men are the bigger sluts, actually. And it's just a simple fact. Men are sluts. So Sherry Curry claims and says she's had sex twice during the whole time in the Runaways. Yeah, right. Doesn't sound very believable. So here's what the Runaways did. They played live shows. They played in Japan. They were big in Japan. How the hell they get big in Japan specifically, I have no idea. There must have been specific radio stations over there that focused on a lot of like American music and whatnot. It's just kind of odd that, yeah, they scored big in Japan. Anyways, they did that. They toured. They put out albums. They did everything that guys could do, and they rocked it. True. What they didn't do is reform. Now, I'm kind of confused on this whole reforming thing because Little Ford, and of course I was asking myself this years ago, and I've recently been doing more research, and I found out stuff that shed a little bit more light on the subject. And I'm like, oh, okay. Cherie Currie has performed with Lita Ford during solo things and shows and specific things. She has performed, sung with Joan Jett on separate occasions. So the question is like, geez, why haven't they reformed yet? That's kind of odd and messed up how they didn't reform it. During the late 90s, once Kiss did and Van Halen did for about, 1 week, a lot of bands have started reforming and started, doing the reunion thing. Oh, you're just jumping on the bandwagon. Okay, who cares? Who gives a shit? You're going to hear that, but, they should have. Even, of course, if they did it by between 2009 and 2010. That would have been good because it was once the Runaways movie was released. I watched that Runaways movie and I thought it was pretty good. Live in Japan, the album. This is a cool one. I like this one. I like the cover. I like how it folds out. Well, some of the cool pictures in here. You Drive Me Wild. Cherie Currie. Okay, so this was done in 1977. A lot of other cool pictures and stuff like that in this album. I love it. The back part, even a double album. Nope. Not even a double album, but here's the picture of it. This is a really cool record, and if you can't see it, I will post that picture. Okay, Runaways live in Japan. It's a really cool album, even though I haven't specifically listened to this one. But Lita Ford, and of course, a lot of people say Lita Ford was hot in the 80s, which she was, but back in the 70s, holy cow, she was like really hot, and still. I wish the Runaways would reform. That would be awesome. You Drive Me Wild. I like that one. Neon Angels. I Want to Be Where the Boys Are. Yeah, I'm sure you do, Joan Jett. You want to be where the boys are, don't you? Cherry Bomb. I'll have to just throw this in there. Kim Fowler was a piece of crap. That's for sure. That's absolutely sure. And like what I wanted to state also was that, yes, I think that they were young, and I think they should have been better looked after. I think there should have been more people chaperoning them, supervising them. I'm just saying, and hey, I'm just saying because they come around just like with a lot of these other, young girls in the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, I was taken advantage of, I was this, I was that. Yeah, I was sucking dick in here and all this and that stuff, but I didn't want to do it to these guys. I think they should have been better looked after, so they weren't, exposed to being taken advantage of and are doing drugs especially. That's all. That's all I have to say about the Runaways, and thanks for watching this video. I wish the Runaways do it again, guys.